Microsoft and Sony are two different companies. Obviously, they're not going to do everything exactly the way that the other one does, and I think that works out well. For us gamers, we get the best of both worlds. Those of us who divulge and kind of indulge in both consoles and both platforms. I know that's a very expensive proposition these days, but usually by the middle of the generation towards the end, we end up with a large number of gamers that own both consoles, and I think that's really cool, and I think that's really something that a lot of people should be excited about and should be happy about. Now, when it comes to exclusive games, we know that Microsoft has really been lackluster over the years, and particularly are on day 631 without an Xbox AAA exclusive. Now, that might be something of a, bummer to some people. I know some people will definitely kind of damage control that and pretend that, it's not a big deal or whatever. But at the same time, I think that, it is a big deal. I think that what we're seeing from Microsoft and Sony are vastly kind of different areas of expertise. Sony is going a more traditional route, and Microsoft is really going sort of a Netflix, hey, let's buy studios and only rely on our own stuff kind of route. And I think that you really could miss out on a lot of stuff that way by not going out there and locking down some other content. So I think that that's going to be something that we as fans kind of look at and we kind of maybe question just a little bit. And what I mean by that is, quite simply put, right now it is rumored heavily, and this is considered a leak, and this is from a pro Xbox place, by the way, that a massive franchise has been money-hatted and bought by Sony. Now, they won't own the IP, but this heavily indicates that it will be exclusive to PlayStation for at least a time, or could be a full-time exclusive. We'll have to see how that works out. But Sony has been very outgoing. They've been very aggressive in going out there and buying games and kind of buying a lot of these games that people wouldn't have thought that they would go out and get. And I think that's really cool. I think that one of the things that obviously we continue to see from Sony is they're not afraid to go out there and take risks. They actually went out there. They've got all kinds of games on the horizon. They've got games coming from all kinds of different sources, and I think that really goes an incredibly long way to kind of showcase what they have plans for in general. And I love seeing that. I think that that's really what we'll continue to see long term going forward, is that they're going to continue to go out there and they're going to continue to showcase the games the best way that they can. So hopefully that's something that they actually continue to do, and hopefully that's something that as fans we kind of come to accept, because that is going to be the future of gaming for Sony. They only have 13, 14 studios or whatever it is. So for that kind of situation, it's very easy to see why perhaps we're in this kind of the way that we are with them buying these exclusives and things like that. Now, on this particular exclusive, I feel like, man, it's going to be very interesting if this turns out to be true. But still, take it with a grain of salt. BioShock 4 could be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. According to Industry Insider, there's a chance that the upcoming BioShock 4 video game will be exclusive to PlayStation 5. Now, how many of you had your bingo on that one, right? Like, that's pretty impressive if you think about it. When the original BioShock came out and launched in 2007, it was an Xbox 360 console exclusive. The OG BioShock eventually made its way to other platforms, though, and future entries in the series were multi-plat right off the bat. However, a new rumor suggests that the upcoming BioShock 4 may be returning the franchise to its timed exclusive ways, as it seems that the game may wind up being a PlayStation 5 exclusive. According to this Xbox podcast, as spotted by Dual Shockers, it's possible that BioShock 4 will be a PlayStation 5 exclusive, either timed or fully. Now, fans should take this information with a huge grain of salt, though it is worth pointing out that some legitimate leaks have come from Xbox Era and its hosts in the past. Regardless if this is true, it will likely prove to be a controversial decision on the part of 2K Games, as BioShock fans on Xbox will be likely upset. Now, the interesting thing here is we see that you might think that, skipping Xbox would be a huge hurt for them. I don't really necessarily think that's the case. Now, if we look at what happened recently, CD Projekt Red, for instance, they went out and they announced that they missed their numbers by a lot, and they haven't even sold 1 million copies of Cyberpunk 2077. Excuse me. They haven't even sold 1 million copies of that game this year. The game is still delisted and not on PlayStation 4 or 5. So it goes to show you it's much worse for these companies to miss out on being on PlayStation than it is to miss out on being Xbox. And we see the splits in some of these sales for some of these games, like particularly in the UK, where it'll be like an 80% buy for PlayStation versus a 20% buy on Xbox. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. So realistically, there probably wouldn't even be missing much, to be quite frank with you. The PlayStation 5 is already rumored to be at about 10 million copies, 10 million units sold, to under 5 million sold for the Xbox. So they're already doubling up what the Xbox is selling. Now, obviously, fans shouldn't get too worked up if it's true that Sony has got a variety of timed exclusive deals for the PS5 with third party, as evident by Final Fantasy 16 PS5 exclusivity, and there's others, obviously, Forspoken, which was Project Athea. That's at least a 2-year PlayStation 5 exclusive, but it's always possible that this information could be off. It's also possible that the deal isn't even in the works at all, since so little is known about BioShock 4 at this point. So just stand by for official news. Beyond the fact that BioShock 4 is being developed by Cloud Chamber, there is pretty much next to nothing known about the game. There's been plenty of speculation as to what it might entail and if it will be returning to previous settings, but nothing concrete has been shown to date. However, some BioShock 4 job listings have potentially revealed a few details of what fans can expect from the game, and according to that, it seems like BioShock 4 will have more RPG elements with a Fallout-style dialogue system. Other jobs listings suggest that BioShock 4 may even get an open-world game, which would be quite the departure from the previous entries while having open environments for players to explore. That, because the game was still very linear back in the day, and of course, plenty of things can change during game development, so it's always possible that these particular aspects of BioShock 4 won't even make it into the final project. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Something less likely to change, though, is the engine that BioShock 4 is being built with. Job listings point to it using Unreal 5, which means that the game will likely be skipping last-gen hardware, though that was expected anyway. Ultimately, fans will need to wait for an official reveal, but supposedly this game's been in development for a little while now, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that kind of plays out. Will this be something that pisses off Xbox fans? I don't really know. I don't really know, but I do know that as far as, gamers are concerned, it's a business. And before Xbox fans have no right to be pissed off, since they bought the first BioShock exclusivity for a year back in 2007. Not only did they do that, but they also ended up getting a 2-year console exclusive deal on Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. Think about this. Microsoft, desperately in need of exclusive games, but hey, let's forget all about that and let's focus on, getting an exclusive HDR for 2 years and exclusive sound for 2 years. That is the most Xbox thing I've ever seen, and it really is kind of funny when you see that this kind of thing happens, over and over again. Just to see the fun and sort of the aspect of what's going on with the exclusivity and the announcements and stuff like that. So yeah, I love seeing this. I hope that it's true, because that's pro PlayStation, not anti-gamer, not consumer or anything like that. They've done a really good job with, getting games out there. Look, even Final Fantasy VII Remake, smart move. Even paying to keep it off PC an extended period of time, again, very smart move. They're making a lot of the right moves right now. I got to say, I'm very impressed, and it continues to be a situation where they're blowing me away with their ability to provide content. And that can't be taken for granted, in my opinion. That cannot be taken for granted. Absolutely fantastic to see that. Love seeing it. And I hope they continue to, do things for gamers that get them excited about the PlayStation 5, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. I can link this in the description below. Let me know what you think. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.